Continue, shall we? Daniel Coronel, 22-year-old writer, actor, and hip-hop artist. He's been affiliated with Theatre for 4 years. He's stage managed both the motor trade and small engine repair, and has mad love for the Rogue Machine Theatre Company. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Coronel.
Actually, before I begin, I just want to take a couple seconds to thank my friends and family that are here. I'd also like to thank my Road Machine people. I mean, you guys had my back since day one, and I'm blessed to have you guys in my life, so thank you so much. Well, now that I got you guys on my side, I'd like to begin. My jealousy is a common one. Jealous of rock stars, but not for the reasons that you may think. It's not their fame or fortune or grandiose sex lives. It's the fact that they can take every drug known to man and be fully capable of creating something genius, and I can't. And believe me, I pretty much figured that shit out the hard way. Allow me to elaborate. Bob Marley, the greatest reggae artist of all time. The most idolized stoner on the planet. He smoked weed all his life and in the process wrote some of the greatest songs ever. So I thought that if I smoked a lot of weed, I sure didn't. I went to a dispensary and bought 2 grams of lamb's bread. It was Mr. Marley's favorite strain, said the very cute girl behind the counter. So I stayed home alone and rode up. I faced 2 J's inside my car. I couldn't smoke inside my house. My parents were coming home in a few hours, and the odor alone would have me kicked out. And I don't think I'd make it as a homeless person. So, inside the hot box, I waited for inspiration. Something crept up, but it wasn't inspiring. I was stoned. I mean, my eyes were bloodshot, my head was heavy, and my thoughts completely scattered. So I took out a small notepad from my glove compartment. I was determined to write something awesome. For like a couple of minutes. After that, the only thing on my mind was food, sleep, and TV. So I went back to my house, I headed straight for the kitchen, and there it was, looking so radiant and standing tall, covered in magnets and family pictures, was my fridge. I grubbed out of control. I gained like 5 pounds in one afternoon. And instead of writing anything or listening to music for inspiration, I watched an unhealthy amount of Cheers. I had no song, no lyrics, just a full gut, an urge to sleep, and a young but hilarious Ted Danson on the TV screen. But I don't give up that easy. So I figured maybe I need something with a little kick, you know, something that keeps you up. And then it hit me. Cocaine! Yeah. Maybe I can crucialize like Clapton. I mean, he has a song named after it. I had a fair share of guitar lessons. It all makes sense. So, I got a gram of the good stuff. I sat my guitar next to me. I had Layla playing in the background, and I made myself a fat-ass line. I rolled up a $1 bill, put it by the line, and I sneezed. Shit, I said to myself. My first line of coke just wasted up in the air. Well, I had to redeem myself. So I made myself 3 fat lines, and I railed them like a trooper. After swallowing some nasty nasal drips, the cocaine was in full effect. I was not prepared. My body was wired. My heart was racing. But my ego Well, my ego was on a whole other level. I mean, I felt like a rock star. I felt like Clapton. So I acted on my first instinct. I stripped down to my boxers, grabbed my guitar, and started jamming in front of the mirror. Although I wasn't playing any actual chords or notes or anything. I was just vibing, strumming, just vibing. I had little to no control over my hands, but I didn't care. Rock stars never care. But poor guitar. I mean, if that guitar could talk at that moment, I'm sure it would have yelled, "Rave! Rave!" at the top of its lungs. I couldn't play the guitar, and I damn sure couldn't sit and write. I mean, they say that human beings go through 3,000 thoughts a day, and I was going through 3,000 a minute. How could I write like that? I couldn't even stand still. I spent what felt like an eternity pacing up and down my house in my boxers, talking to myself like my every word was profound. It wasn't. I eventually crashed on a couch out of pure exhaustion. I was failing myself, failing my creativity. I couldn't accept it. I refused to give up. I mean, my jealousy was stirring up my frustration, while my frustration increased my doubt. And all I can think about was how easy it was for these goddamn rock stars to create, even while heavily drugged. It's not fair. How could I ever be considered great? I'm failing where the great ones prevail. I sat in silence to calm my jealousy. Fuck it, I'm going all out, I said to myself. And only one name came to mind. Jimi Hendrix. He was the ultimate rock star, the embodiment of awesome, and a human vessel of LSD. So, I made a couple of phone calls, got a hold of 2 hits, and went back to my house. I was nervous. Of all the stories I've heard about acid, I had no idea how to handle it. I mean, all I knew was that Dark Side of the Moon must be played in its entirety. So, I closed my eyes, and I took both hits at the same time. An hour passed, and nothing. 20 minutes later, and still nothing at all. Over 2 hours passed by. I haven't hallucinated or felt any type of body high. I was still sober. Thanks to Wikipedia, I found out that if you're not tripping balls by the 3rd hour, then your hits were probably bumped. Well, my hits were bumped. But instead of getting mad at myself or really angry at my dealer, instead of all that, I had a moment of clarity. I guess my creativity is different from these rock stars that I was jealous of. And that's not a bad thing. It actually gave me hope. Hope that one day, at my most sober, at the peak of my abilities, and not my high, I can create something so genius that when someone checks it out, that person can be jealous of me. Thank you. Yeah.
I'd also like to thank Tucker Smallwood for being Uncle of the Year with his